Hey birdwatchers, I'm back in South Australia. This time we're going to explore the southern state's vast outback, and we'll see a few other places closer to Adelaide as well. There's plenty of birds to see this episode, so let's get going. Today we're visiting Gluepot Reserve, one of South Australia's best birdwatching spots. Nearly 200 bird species live here, including 20 that are considered threatened nationally. So every sound we hear could mean that we're going to spot something special. I'll share more info later. For now, I'm excited to show you one of the bird hides. Each hide features a water trough, so the thirsty birds come to you. You'll be eye to eye as they swoop in, splash about, and come in for a precious drink. First, let's meet the yellow-plumed honeyeater. Its distinctive yellow plumes run along the sides of its neck. When threatened, these birds band together, fluttering their wings and bravely driving off intruders. Here's one of the many parrots we'll see today. It's the Mulga Parrot, a real gem of Australia's dry heartland. These resourceful birds get moisture from seeds and plants that they eat, so they can go for weeks without needing to drink water. Whenever they discover a safe water source like the one here, Mulga parrots eagerly gather, splashing and sipping with enthusiasm before disappearing back into the dry scrub. Males shine in turquoise, red and yellow, while females blend in with softer greens and browns. Both are about the same size as a lorikeet. You'll spot them across inland scrublands and open grasslands, thriving where few other parrots can. This hide is a busy spot. Here are spiny-cheeked honeyeaters. They mostly eat fruit, but also enjoy nectar and insects. They're known for their noisy social groups and are among Australia's most adaptable honeyeaters. Getting to Gluepot is an adventure in itself. It's a 4-hour drive from Adelaide, and while a 2-wheel drive can make the trip, a 4-wheel drive gives peace of mind. The reserve's name comes from its notorious clay soils, which, after even a sprinkle of rain, can transform the tracks into sticky glue pots, bogging down vehicles and stranding the unprepared. Who's back here? It's the secretive chestnut quail thrush. Their calls are very high-pitched and are often hard to hear. Males, like the one on the right, have chestnut on their backs and black down the front, while females on the left have more muted colours. Here's a bird prodding at bark to find insects. It's a white-browed babbler, a close relative to the grey-crowned babbler from eastern and northern Australia. The babblers are famous for their constant chatter or babbling. Birds out this way are often hard to see and quick to get away. They have more personal space. The splendid fairy wren is no different. Look at the legs. Looks like this one's been banded. Gluepot Reserve covers over 54,000 hectares, which is about 20 times larger than Sydney CBD. There's a network of tracks that take visitors through different habitats, each home to different bird species. I see some birds in this tree. It's the familiar grey butcherbird. Out here, they behave a bit differently. They're more solitary and don't sing as much as those living near the coast. It's believed that they sing less to save energy in these tougher conditions. This small, streaky cuckoo is famous for laying its eggs in the nests of fairy wrens and thornbills, letting the other birds do the hard work of raising the cuckoo's chicks. Horsfield's bronze cuckoos are caterpillar specialists, and during the breeding season, males often give the juiciest grubs to the females as courtship gifts. Here's a new bird, the white-fronted honeyeater. The term front on a bird can be confusing. it actually refers to the bird's forehead and not the actual front of it. This species has a bold white front, making it easy to spot. I've heard rumours of a special bird hiding somewhere around this area. Be sure to keep a lookout. See those clumps of grass along the path? That's spinifex. It looks harmless, but the blades are needle sharp and can cut your skin. My first encounter with spinifex left me a bit scratched up, so be sure to bring leg protection. Many bird species use the spinifex for shelter and protection, and also eat the seeds and insects that they find in there. Wait, I think I see something. I can't believe it. It's the endangered malleefowl. Malleefowl are large ground-dwelling birds only found in Australia. They build huge nesting mounds to incubate their eggs, similar to the Australian brush turkey. They work hard moving soil and leaf litter to keep the nest at the right temperature. Spotting one is a real challenge. I actually searched for hours before finding this one. Not one, but two. Malleefowl numbers have dropped in South Australia because of habitat loss and predators. So they're now listed as vulnerable, and they need our help. Check out the links in the video description for details on their recovery efforts. Whoa, I did not think I was ever going to see one of these. Let's move on to a different section. Welcome to the information centre. It may look simple, but it's the hub that keeps Gluepot connected. There's no staff waiting inside, just a quiet space where you can sign yourself in, scan the maps, and check the sightings board alive with notes from fellow birdwatchers. It's also the only place in the reserve with Wi-Fi and reliable phone reception. With no hotels for miles, I recommend camping here for a small fee. Ideally for at least 2 nights. Camping out here is just magical. You get the cool outback nights, you're beneath skies bursting with stars, and you'll drift off to the calls of owlet nightjars and other nocturnal birds. Let's go for a stroll around the information centre. There's always plenty of birds around. Here's 2 Mulga Parrots on top of the water tank. We saw them earlier, but it's nice to see that they're abundant here. Next is the Jackie Winter, often seen perched and diving up and down like this. No one is sure where the name comes from, but it might be because it's one of the few birds that sing through most of the winter. We've now got a parade of white-winged choughs. If you look closely at the one on the right, you'll see pink around the outer eye. When choughs get excited, extra blood flows to the skin around the eye, making the area swell and look larger. Next up is the spotted pardalote. On the east coast, they live in rainforests, but here they've adapted to drier conditions too. Let's head to a new area, the Whistler Tank Track. This is an exclusion fence. It protects sensitive vegetation and water sources from grazing cattle and kangaroos. With these animals kept out, the land can recover, and the fragile mallee ecosystem can be maintained. This dam looks a bit dry, but there are still plenty of birds around. The orange chat can be tricky to identify at first. The female looks yellowish, a bit like a yellow chat, but her eyes hold the clue. Yellow chat females have white eyes, whereas in the orange chat, they're brown. These small birds search low on the ground for insects and seeds, often in open, dry areas. Here's a pair of white-winged fairy wrens. You'll often see them moving through scrubby mallee and saltbush. Males in the breeding season turn bright blue, while the females remain brown, which helps them blend into their surroundings. Southern whitefaces are sturdy little songbirds of southern and central Australia, often seen scurrying across the dusky ground in small chatty groups. But this one stands alone. Looks like it's either scanning for predators or its next meal. I think it's time we check out another water station. It's always a bit of a lucky dip. What birds are waiting for us up here? First up is the red wattlebird, one of Australia's biggest honey eaters, and they let the other birds know it. Their calls are fairly easy to recognise. It's harsh, like a rusty old gate opening up. Males and females look the same, both with streaky feathers and distinctive red wattles that hang from their cheeks. Don't mix up this bird with the smaller Mulga Parrot. This is the Australian ringneck, a colourful parrot about the size of a galah. They live across much of inland and southern Australia. Their coloration changes by region, but they always have that yellow ring around the back of the neck. At Gluepot Reserve, their key corvid is the Australian raven, known for its mournful calls and shaggy throat feathers, known as hackles. Other species of crow raven do show up on occasion. The best way to identify them is to get a photo or a sound recording. Next is the white-eared honeyeater, a fast feeder that can catch an insect every 5 seconds. They often compete with both nectar and insect specialists, so it's not uncommon to see them clashing with other honeyeaters. That bird you hear calling now is the red-backed kingfisher, the kingfisher of the outback. If you hear the sound of a socket wrench out in the bush, it's most likely going to be the apostle bird. They travel in noisy family groups of around 12 birds. Another white-browed species. First the babbler, now the tree creeper. They cling to trunks and branches, probing bark for insects with their curved bills. Males and females look similar, except females have reddish-brown eyebrows and a striped upper chest. This southern scrub robin looks a bit upset. We might be close to its nest. Let's move on. Here's the rufous whistler. Their songs vary from one region to another. Okay, that's the end of our visit to Gluepot Reserve. It's a long drive to get here, but it's definitely worth it. If you want to visit, check out the links in the video description. Next, we'll head back to the city. I'll show you 2 birdwatching hotspots that I missed in my previous Adelaide video. See you there! After a 40-minute drive from Adelaide, we've made it to Laratinga Wetlands. Let's see what we can find on this foggy morning. Here's a hardhead, a kind of diving duck. You rarely see them on land. Diving ducks like the hardhead can plunge beneath the surface, reaching underwater plants and invertebrates other ducks can't access. The males have bright white eyes, while the female's eyes are brown. This duck is easy to miss. The Australian shoveler often dips its head underwater and uses its wide, spoon-shaped bill to search for food. You can tell the males by their bright yellow eyes. Watching these great teals, it's easy to see how they feed. Instead of diving, they float on the surface and use the comb-like parts in their bills to filter out tiny plants and invertebrates. This is called filter feeding. Okay, the hoary-headed grebe is closely related to the Australasian grebe. The term hoary means greyish-white, referring to the plumage on the head. Laratinga has 5 kilometres of walking tracks. It's perfect for a morning stroll. At this boardwalk bend, the path moves away from the water into the bush. There's more to see at Laratinga than just waterbirds. Many other species live in this area. Take a look down on the right here. Listen to that deep, resonating call. Forest pigeons, like the common bronzewing, often favour lower pitch calls, as lower pitch calls allow their voices to carry through and around thick vegetation. Common bronzewings are not too common on the east coast, but here they're everywhere. Tame enough that you can just walk right up to them. Although the common blackbird is often considered a pest for damaging crops and spreading weeds, their melodious songs still remain beautiful. Males have black plumage, whereas the females it's more greyish-brown. Up in the trees we have a very wet musk lorikeet. They have a vivid splash of red on the forehead and face, plus a patch of blue on the crown. The reeds here do more than just grow by the pond. They're the lungs and shelter of the wetlands. They help purify the water, leave dense cover for nesting, and support many birds that live here, such as these. Here's a young reed warbler, waiting for its parents to bring food. Adult reed warblers are skilled nest builders, weaving their nests like slings between upright reed stems. There goes the food. Up next is the New Holland honeyeater, a bold, active bird that eats nectar and insects. You might recognise this bird song. It's the little grass bird, a shy brown and white bird that likes to stay hidden amongst the reeds. It must be breeding season because there are young birds everywhere. Seeing so many young birds means that the habitat is healthy, with plenty of food and places to nest. Black swans glide smoothly on the water, and mostly eat aquatic plants by dipping their long necks below the surface. Their babies, or cygnets, stay fluffy for weeks before turning into young swans. The parents are very protective, often guarding their young for months before letting them go off on their own. Aw, it's almost too cute. A Pacific black duck with her ducklings. These are old enough to look for food, but their fluffy feathers aren't waterproof yet, so they need to dry off regularly to keep from sinking. The mothers keep them close until they grow their real feathers and can fly. This masked lapwing has 2 chicks. Can you spot them? They're well camouflaged. The chicks leave their nest just hours after hatching, but the parents fiercely defend them. Often they'll dive bomb intruders with loud calls and outstretched wings. Once the young can look after themselves, the parents will chase them off to find their own territories. My favourite thing about this place is how easy it is to spot crakes, which are usually very secretive. Here's a quick spotless crake darting between the reeds. They appear and disappear in a flash. Next is the Australian crake, formerly known as the spotted crake. This bird sneaks through thick wetlands, feeding on insects, seeds, and plants. They're pretty difficult to spot in dense reed beds, which makes finding one both challenging and rewarding. Okay, that wraps up our time at Laratinga, an incredible spot with over 120 species regularly reported. Don't pack away your binoculars just yet. Our next stop promises a whole new cast of characters, from dazzling robins, more parrots, and a surprise waiting for us at the end. Let's head out and see what's in store. Welcome back. Today we're visiting the Mark Oliphant Conservation Park, a tall gum forest in the Adelaide Hills, only 30 minutes from Adelaide. This area is not only a haven for rare plants and a diverse array of birds, it's also a critical conservation site due to its unique ecosystem. Let's head into the bush and see what we can find. Around Adelaide, the crimson rosella looks a bit different. This subspecies is paler than the bright red and blue birds that you see on the east coast. They're still striking, and are often seen spotted feeding on seeds and fruit. Next is the sulphur-crested cockatoo. Have you ever wondered how they stay so dazzling white? They have special powdered down feathers that act like natural dry shampoo. When they clean themselves, these feathers release a soft powder that absorbs dirt and oil. They also stay clean by splashing in puddles, bird baths, and even the rain. This is a grey currawong. It's a dark, sleek bird known for its ringing calls. They eat insects, fruit, and small reptiles. Hear that? That's just one of the many calls of the grey shrike thrush. Their songs shift from region to region, and because they're found across most of Australia, in your area, this species may produce a very different song. Up ahead is the easy-to-spot scarlet robin. The male has a bright red chest that stands out against his dark wings, while the female is softer brown with a paler chest. These small birds are territorial, and often perch on low branches or fence posts to watch for insects. These birds are hard to pin down. It's the striated thornbill. Compared to other thornbills, the striated is streakier on the face and chest, and they tend to stay high up in the treetops. This park is alive with more than just birds. You'll find reptiles, insects, and mammals, including the endangered southern brown bandicoot. And look, we have some mammals up ahead. Depending on where in Australia you come from, this koala might look a bit different. Notice the brown on its back? That's typical of the Victorian subspecies found here. Koalas are built for climbing, with two sharp thumbs on each hand that give them a powerful grip on rough eucalyptus bark. Here's a brown-headed honey-eater. It needs something soft for its nest, so it often pulls fur right from the backs of kangaroos and koalas. The reason I'm visiting Adelaide this time is for Cornell University's Bird Sound Recording Workshop. We've just helped train a new group of bird recorders for Australia. With more bird recordings, we'll be able to add more species and sharpen the accuracy of the Merlin app's birdsong identification feature, which will make birdwatching easier for everyone. Off in the distance, we have two laughing kookaburras. Kookaburras are only native to southeastern Australia. They were introduced into Tasmania and Perth over a century ago. Now their populations are established, and they compete for hollows and prey upon smaller native birds. This shows how introducing new animals into a different area can disrupt its ecosystem. This is unusual. A lone yellow-tailed black cockatoo. I think it might be searching for a nesting hollow. Cockatoos in Australia need old hollow trees for nesting, but there aren't enough of them. These hollows take hundreds of years to form, so this shortage is now one of the biggest threats to cockatoos. That's almost it. Just one more bird to go. Thanks for joining me as we explored South Australia's outback and 2 additional hotspots around Adelaide. If you have any questions or thoughts, leave a comment and don't forget to like and subscribe. Our last bird is the crescent honeyeater, named for the broken black crescent that runs down the sides of its neck to its upper chest. This one is licking something sticky off the leaves, most likely honeydew left by insects feeding off the foliage. Okay, that's it. Happy bird watching and see you next time. Bye.